Welcome back to In Session with Dr. Sarah Glass. I'm a therapist, writer, speaker, and this is part 4 of how to change your life without burning it down. Here's what's going to happen. When you think about changing your life, you may be really aware that people are not going to like it. They might not even like you for making the decision you're making to change your life. And here's the best way I have found to handle the fear of what other people will say about me. 2 key principles that I've used that have guided me are rise up and lock in. When you're about to do something that'll have people on the group chats about you, on the email chains, whispering behind your back, it is time to rise up, find compassion for the very same people who are about to judge you, and lock in. That means get extremely serious about your goals and your strategies for meeting them. It's a lot harder than it sounds. So let's get into it. When I was about to leave my Orthodox Jewish high control group, I knew they were going to talk about me. I lived in a community where it was extremely heteronormative. Everyone were like married couples, maybe hanging out with other married couples and their children, and I was about to get divorced. And I knew what that would mean. Not only that, my very own family, my sisters, the ones who raised me from birth, I talk about this in Kissing Girls on Shabbat, I knew they were going to judge me too, and they did. Everyone did. And while it was really, really hard, I faced my sisters at some point, and I said, I am getting divorced. This is what I'm going to do. And they came to my house and sat down and looked at me and said, we cannot accept you if you do this. It was one of the most hurtful things I've ever had to go through. It was so hard for me that instead of saying, are you okay? Do you need help? What is it that you're going through? Their decision was to say, we cannot accept you if you do this. And it did hurt me deeply, and I'm not going to downplay that. I'm still hurt by that today. It's years later. The way I found was helpful in handling it was to look at them and think about myself in their shoes. If I were in their shoes, I would be facing this having of a sister who was about to break conformity and break the rules and break what was accepted in so many ways. And I would be scared for her. I would be scared for her future, and I would be scared for myself. What that would mean, how that would look for our family in very real ways. I looked at the friends who no longer invited us for dinner in the community after I made my decision to change. I looked at the, colleagues who looked at me differently. And while being hurt, I also tried to find it somewhere deep within my core to understand. So many of the people who started to look down at me and whisper about me, I thought maybe afraid for me, maybe afraid of what it meant for the community and for the values they were trying to uphold if one person were to just seem to easily defect and make these other decisions. I also thought many people might be jealous. I know it sounds trite, but people judge you and they bully you when they're jealous. I know that not everybody is in a happy marriage. Some people feel stuck in unhappy marriages and feel unable to change. And when they see someone barreling their way out of there, they might look at me and be like, I need to put you down because otherwise I have to face that I'm miserable myself. And by taking a step back, I imagine myself sort of rising above the town that I left and just saying, there's so much pain here in this town, and I'm going to try and have compassion for all of the pain here. That doesn't work for everybody, but for me, with the personality that I have, rising up and having compassion helped me not feel stuck and helped me not get dragged down by the judgment. The second thing that you're going to have to do if you're about to make a big change is lock in. Lock in, that means you have to be crystal clear on what your goals are. I knew my goals were, I needed to not only live a free life, I needed my children to have a shot at freedom on their own. I knew that if I were to continue on the path I was raising my children to get married off as teenagers, to start having children of their own before they even had a chance to figure out what kind of career they might consider, what kind of relationship they might want to be in, who they even were. I wanted my kids to have the freedoms that I never had, the freedoms I had to fight so hard for. And so at the time when I was like facing community judgment and judgment of colleagues and everything, I was like, I don't care, because my children are worth it. They're going to have a life where they don't have to fight this hard to be who they are. And to that end, I strategize. So part of locking in is like, I am going to leave this marriage, I'm leaving this job, I'm leaving this town, whatever it is that you're leaving, strategize. And I had to think about which people matter and which people don't. For example, my children's teachers mattered. Them judging us and our family would have perhaps impacted my children, and so I spoke with them. My children's friends' parents mattered, and so I spoke with them and I said, look, this is what our family's going through. My daughter's going to be going through it. My son's going to be going through it. I would so appreciate your support. If you have any questions, you can ask me. That mattered because that would impact our family. Talking to lawyers mattered. That would impact our family. Things that didn't matter was what was on the freaking group chat. That didn't matter. I saw the stares. I saw the whispers. I saw the looks. And I just tried to hold my head up high and be like, that actually is not going to impact our family's future. It's not comfortable to be disliked, but if you're going to do anything brave in your life, anything important, anything that breaks the mold, not everybody is going to like you all of the time. And try and take those looks, the stares, the comments, the negativity, and use it as affirmation that you're doing something important with your life. You're doing something meaningful. You're doing something that is going to open doors for the people who come after you. So that's your 2 quick tips for dealing with the drama that comes with change. Rise up, lock in. These are not the only ways to deal with this. There are so many ways to deal with this kind of like judgment, and I want to hear from you. What is something that you have found helpful if you're navigating this for yourself, if you've seen other people get through it? What do you think is the best way to deal with the judgment that comes from others as you're making your life changes? Stay tuned for more of In Session with Dr. Sarah Glass, where we'll do our deep dives into topics that are related to you living the life that you deserve to have.